Good to see you, Whitney Cummings.
Hi. I know I'm dressing crazy. I don't care anymore.
I love it.
All my friends are dying. I've only been wearing black.
Stop.
I've only been wearing black for the past 2 weeks going to funerals, so I figured I'd brighten it up.
I know. That's where I saw you last.
Last time I saw you, and
at Bob Saget's funeral.
At Bob Saget's funeral, where I was completely lost because...
Yes.
You know, we were tight with Saget. Like, he would want us making crazy jokes. He would. And it was so weirdly serious. And all I could think about was the story that Bob told me once when we were in New York, where it's because Bob's got there's 5 things in your brain that are like, this is the hardest I've ever laughed. He's got 2 or 3 of my 5. One time we were in New York, and his sister had a horrible disease called scleroderma,
right.
which, deteriorates your skin. And we were in New York one time, and, he would do the charity event every year. We'd do stand-up at it. And I had ordered lasagna at the Bowery Hotel. And as I was eating it, he goes, "Hey, stop eating my sister."
Oh, my God.
It was one of those laughs where you, have to, go for a walk to, collect yourself. Like one of those, healing old wounds laughs.
He was unbelievable.
It would be that brutal.
Oh,
but then he also would be so dumb. I remember one time we were at some restaurant in Hollywood, and when you're done with eating, everyone just gets on their phone automatically, And I look over, and Bob had ordered a sundae or something, some dumb fruit sundae. And I look over, and he's typing on an actual BlackBerry, the berry. And I was like, Bob, what are you doing? And he had been doing it for 2 minutes. He was waiting for us to notice, and it was all mushed up in his hands. So I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm typing on my BlackBerry. And it was just so dumb.
The commitment to it.
The fact that he was just waiting for us to notice, and it was all bleeding all over his hands. But I really feel like the speeches were also so
right.
I feel like when you go to the funeral for someone that you love so much and the speeches suck, you're you're bombing, you're ruining.
Right.
They were great. Thank God,
They killed at the funeral.
Oh my God,
right.
Totally. Because I was
right.
we can't bomb this funeral for Bob. And it was so funny that his wife was like, yeah, Bob still doesn't know what I do for a living. And then his daughter had the funniest thing. One of his daughters was saying how him and Bob, or how her and Bob would go out in public, and he would point to random people and be like, "Aren't you glad that weirdo's not your dad? What if he was your dad? Are you glad you got me? You're such a weird."
It sounded exactly what he would be like, and he was here just a few months ago, and
it's also just being a comedian at a funeral. Seeing you really grounded me because.
How did I ground you?
Well, because our instincts are to just say something inappropriate and disgrace the occasion, and just it happened in Florida a couple days before, and Nikki Glaser and we walked up to the coffin, and I don't think we. You don't realize it doesn't really hit you. It still maybe hasn't hit me, frankly. But
right.
We walked up to the coffin and put our hands on it, and I just whispered to her, "There's no way Bob's in here." There's no way Florida people got him here in 3 days, right? He's not in here, right?
He would have appreciated that, though.
Yeah, we were just kind of the only thing we can do right now is just pretend they didn't get him here, and there's just
the body supply chain somehow got.
Okay, Orlando people got him here in 3 days. My luggage is still in Orlando from 2 months ago. I just feel like he's not in here, and that's okay. We were just, it was the perfect mix, I feel of incredibly reverent, but also there was a warmth that was just
inspiring because Bob Saget, I got Whitney Cummings here on the Rich Eisen Show, and I think Bob would love the fact that we're talking about him here.
Yeah.
Is that he was so nice to so many people, and he really cared when he asked you about your family, and he really cared, and he really was just into that stuff. He geeked out on love and family, and then would say the most inappropriate stuff right on top of it. When he was here, he was talking about he was talking about I asked him about Rickles, and then he started telling a story about Rickles, but he mentioned his father once. He goes, "You remember my dad, right?" And I answered seriously, yeah, I remember your father. And it was just a setup for him saying he remembers you had nice soft hands for him.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. So I wasn't supposed to seriously answer that question. I should just let you be the comedian. Like that literally is what happened.
He's like, I'll get this. Yeah, it's just, it also was so like normally when I go to a funeral, and like, because when you're in pain and grieving, you're mad at everyone and need someone to blame, or you need to distract yourself from the grief by being like, why did that person wear this to the funeral? Like, why is this whore in a black mini skirt? You're just whatever. You hate everyone but it was like, this is how great Bob is, because that as soon as someone dies, everyone's their best friend. Like all of a sudden they are going through their photos looking for the dead person they had a selfie with. Like, I'm like, how did you found out that person was dead and instantly just went to your iPhone and started looking at the selfie of you two together to pretend you were best friends. But everyone at that funeral was like, was Bob's best friend. And it didn't even make me competitive. I was like, yeah, he is the kind of person that he was everyone's best friend within 2 minutes.
When you said whore in a miniskirt, I'm like, how dare you talk about Norman Lear like that? What has gotten into you?
It was also funny. Nikki Glaser we went together. She was cracking me up because a lot of people were carrying the coffin. Like comedians, we are so out of shape. Like watching all those comedians struggle with that coffin was embarrassing. Nikki was like, "Could we get the Dave Chappelle from 5 years ago that was on steroids?" I feel like we're not gonna get this casket in the ground, guys. It was bad.
Whitney Cummings here on the Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.